Hey guys, it's Faye from SolarFlow and I am back with an all new video. Today's topic is a behind the veil energy read, or rather I should say channeled exploration into the weight loss drug Ozempic. So we're going to be exploring both the three-dimensional use and application of it, as well as the true meaning and purpose of its prevalence and popularity behind the 3D veil. So if this sounds like an interesting topic to you, I invite you to stick around, and if not, maybe I'll see you at another video. Now, before we get into the channeled energy reading and information that had come in, I'm first going to start by sharing 3D information into the drug Ozempic. Now, it is rather popular today, so it's not because I think you may not have heard of it, unless maybe you're an ET and you were just like spawned here on Earth today, like spontaneous spawning. It could certainly happen. Nothing would surprise me at this point. But it's really because a lot of the 3D information about it actually pertains in some way to the channeled information that had come in. So all of what I had discovered is something that can also be obtained if you too want to further explore the 3D information into it. This is all information that I'm about to share that was acquired off of Google. But I'm going to share it because, again, it's prevalent to the energy reading on it, but also when we have a deeper understanding, a more fundamental and deeper understanding about it, it's just going to hit differently when we get to the energy reading portion. So here we go. Some 3D facts about the drug Ozempic. So Ozempic is a prescription injectable drug that is used to treat type 2 diabetes in adults, as well as long-term weight loss management. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. It's not just weight loss, but long-term weight loss management, because this is directly going to pertain to the information that had come in on it. Now, Ozempic is injected into either the abdomen, the thigh, or the upper arm. I'm also going to include some of the side effects of it, which you might be wondering, like, why girl, why? We don't usually go this deep into 3D facts. Again, it pertains. And this is also going to kind of like read, like if you've ever been watching TV and there's like an advertisement for medication and it like lists all of the serious side effects and you're like, damn, I don't know why anyone would want to take it with all them side effects. Again, relevant. So here we go. Some of the side effects include swelling, redness, or itching at the injection site, tiredness, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and or constipation. So either it don't go at all or it goes too much. Serious side effects, because those are just like the basic bitch side effects. However, the serious side effects may include kidney problems, vision changes. So if you get skinny, you can't even like appreciate your vision in the mirror. Signs of pancreas or gallbladder disease, as well as serious allergic reactions, such as losing the ability to breathe. Yeah, that's kind of serious, I would say. I mean, it could lead directly to death. Now, lastly, Google wanted me to know, and thus I pass this information along to you, that it is illegal to buy Ozempic or similar drugs without a prescription. Because when it comes to weight loss, the government wants to be your drug dealer, not them street thugs. You can get, fentanyl from them street thugs, street thugs, but when it comes to weight loss, it's got to be by the books. It's got to be legit. Now, the company that makes Ozempic is named Novo Nordisk. This is a Danish company, and they are the only FDA, as in the Federal Drug Administration, they are the only FDA-approved manufacturer for this kind of medication. The only. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, this company, Novo Nordisk, you cannot make this up. Their logo, you can Google this and you can go see it if you want to. Their logo is of some sort of a bull. This may not seem to be relevant. However, if you're one of my channel members and if you have seen my video that I have done on Satan, you will understand why it is significant that their logo is of some sort of a bull. If you want to learn more about this, and no, I'm not saying I'm a rock star, and no, I'm not saying aloha either. If you want to learn more about this, there is a link down below in the description box to join my membership. You can have access to that video on Satan, as well as the other over 70 videos that are exclusive for my members. So their logo is of a bull. You can look it up and you cannot make this up. Ozempic has been on the market since the year 2017. Now, notable about it, besides for this, notable about it is that in the first 3 months of 2024, this current calendar year I'm recording this video in, the first 3 months of 2024 alone, Ozempic brought in 65.3 billion with a B, Danish Kruger, which is the equivalent of 9.4 billion American dollars. I mean, okay, it's not 65.3 billion. I don't think they're complaining. I don't think they're suffering because they only, quote unquote, brought in the equivalent of 9.4 billion American dollars. In 2023, which was the last calendar year, they had brought in 375 billion with a B dollars. In 2022, it had brought in 257 billion with a B dollars. In 2021, it had brought in 171 billion with a B dollars. Now, this is global. This is worldwide. Since 2018, Ozempic has brought in for the company, in the United States alone, 50 billion with a B dollars. Just in the US alone, 50 billion. Since 2018 until now. Okay. This concludes some of the three-dimensional information into Ozempic. Of course, if you want to learn more about it, you are more than welcome to acquire the information off of Google as well. We are now going to transition into the channeled information that had come in when I had looked into the behind the 3D veil exploration of the widespread use and popularity of the drug Ozempic. So here we go. What was shown to me about Ozempic is that it hijacks a person's digestive system and it turns their digestive system against them. Now, this is why I really wanted to drive home the point about some of the 3D side effects that it can actually cause, which is, again, I remind you, at the injection site itself, this is minor, comparatively. It can cause swelling, redness, or itching. But what else can it actually cause? Tiredness, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and or constipation. So I want you to think about these symptoms and that the majority of them have to do in some way, shape, or form with a person's digestive system. Tiredness is the only one that is not, let's say, what we would correlate directly to a 3D side effect of something that has to do with the stomach. However, if we understand that all disease actually begins in the gut, then a disease or a side effect such as tiredness actually does have to do with it, even if it doesn't seem like it in fact does. But the rest of them, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and or constipation, all pertain to the gut. Even if it's not injected there, yes, it can be injected into the abdomen, the thigh, or the upper arm. What is it actually targeting though? It's the person's digestive system. Hence why it actually hijacks a person's digestive system. But what it's actually doing is it is turning the person's digestive system against them, the host. So in this regard, Ozempic is, if you will, like an autoimmune disease that attacks the host's body. But it is also somewhat akin to a parasite that drains the host dry because it causes tiredness. So look at it like it's not only dysregulating their internal gut biome, it's on an energetic level, it's actually sucking them dry, similar to a way that a parasite would. However, autoimmune diseases are not parasitic in nature, and there is no siphoning off the system to support the parasite. So it's more, if you will, akin to an energetic self-destruction that may lay dormant in somebody's system until there is a stressor of some kind that activates it. Because autoimmune diseases are not parasitic. An autoimmune disease, if you will wreak havoc on a person's system, but it's not its own unique entity that kind of like, if you look at a flea on an animal, the flea needs the animal to survive so it can feed off of it. If the animal doesn't survive, then the parasite has to jump off of it and has to find a new host. An autoimmune disease exists in a person's system without any indication that it is even existing until there is some sort of external stressor that, if you will, turns it on and activates it. So despite the fact that we live in a sometimes world gone mad, and there is in fact been an enormous increase in autoimmune diseases as a whole, coding a destructive element into a drug can take a long time to manifest, and that can actually be frustrating to the makers of it. So essentially, the drug makers of Ozempic have, or not just Ozempic, I would say 80% of all synthetic drugs that are available on the market today, there is a coding into it. It's designed to wreak havoc on a person's system. This is going to explain why, if anybody is on synthetic big pharma medication, in addition to that one drug that they take, they're on average on an additional 3 to 4 other supplemental synthetic medications. And those additional supplemental medications are designed to combat the symptoms of that first medication. So if you get somebody that needs big pharma medication, not only are you getting a customer on one drug, there's the potential that in addition to that, you're actually getting them on subsequent 3 to 4 additional medications. So you don't just have a customer for life with one drug, you have them for 4 to 5 drugs. This is why the coding into synthetic big pharma medication is in fact designed to wreak havoc on a person's system. It's literally profit over people. So now knowing that there are coded into the medication destructive elements that can take years to manifest, and that can be frustrating to the makers of a drug because they want their profits now, they're constantly evolving and exploring new ways in which they can speed the relevant process up. And with so many people starting to wake up and clean up their lifestyles, getting healthy and becoming resistant to the jab doodles, the chances of actually infecting people by the drug companies to get their profits over the people, it's starting to go, in fact, down. Cue some sort of a crisis, such as a virus that we all came to learn about in 2000 or 2021 called C19, that it was mandated, even though this is outside the scope of the video, but it was mandated that if you wanted to keep your job, you needed to get a jab. Or the flu. An annual jab that people are advised strongly to get if they don't want to get the flu themselves. Even though at least half the people I know that have gotten it still get the flu thereafter. But don't ask any questions. So there's constantly a push as more and more of us are in fact starting to wake up. There's always going to be some sort of an additional push or incentive or health catastrophe that's going to work people up into a fear and work people up into a tizzy and push them into getting more of these done. Because too many of us are waking up and rejecting this. One such thing that has entered, in addition to C19, is the weight crisis. I wonder why that could be. So the weight crisis that is seizing the majority of Americans, and you can look this up, like 60% of adult Americans are now considered to be overweight. So the weight loss crisis was designed to be rolled out in tandem with the massive increase in social media and the social media platforms that are also specifically designed to target a woman's self-esteem. So now not only are more and more of us Americans overweight, and it's not just the adults, it's the littles as well. So not only are more and more of us actually overweight, but in addition to that, there is a widespread and rampant use. It's almost like coded in to the DNA and the fabric of culture at this point that people of all ages are going to have at least one social media platform. So they're either going to have Instagram, or they're going to have TikTok, or they're going to have Facebook, or they're going to have all of them. And then in addition to the social media platforms, there's all of the rag mags that even if you don't buy them, they're on sale at all of the checkout counters, and you can always see plastered on the front page of these rag mags talking about these celebrities and how they lost weight or how they lost the baby weight. And that's always going to be the cover story. So even if you are just there to buy something healthy, like, I don't know, fucking broccoli, you're still going to be inundated with stories about celebrities that 6 weeks after they had a baby, they're already back to their pre-baby weight. And in addition to that, they've also got six-pack abs. Okay. But that's if you don't have social media, because you know if you have social media, it's going to be pushed into your face and into your sphere and into your orbit nonetheless. Because when you sign up for Instagram for the first time, they are pushing certain celebrities onto you that they want you to follow. I wonder why that could be. So we had this weight loss crisis happening in America. And concurrently, while this is going on, there is this over-proliferation of use of social media platforms and rag mags that are always going to be putting forth these celebrities and their incredible weight loss journeys. And if they're not, fessing up to the so-called, and if you're just listening and you can't see what I'm doing, I'm putting in air quotes, their so-called weight loss journey, like how they got back to their pre-baby weight in 6 weeks' time. So if they're not sharing their weight loss journeys, then they're going to flat out reject all of the plastic surgery procedures that they have done, right? I know it's not just me. If you've been around for a while, surely you yourself have seen Kim Kardashian stating she has never had any work done. Okay, so and I'm not just gonna single her out. We can look at any of the Kardashians. I'm not just gonna single them out. They're just the most egregious deniers of very obvious plastic surgery that they have all had. We've just gotten so used to seeing them enhanced, like the biotic version of themselves, we forgot what they used to look like. They have all had blepharosurgery to open up their eyes. They have had rhinoplasty, at least one to slim down their nose. They have had lip fillers or lip injections. All of them have had Botox done. Some of them have had chin implants, cheek implants, brow lifts, facelifts, and they're all relatively young. But they're all denying that they have the work done. So again, I'm really driving the point home. Concurrently to the fact that we now have a health crisis and a weight crisis here in America, we also have this overproliferation of these celebrities that are not fessing up to the way in which they have lost the weight, because it was through surgical procedures and surgical means. And they're also telling us that the reason they look so good is because they just apply olive oil to their face. Okay. Where are we going with this, Faye? Where are we going? Don't worry, I got you. So we have this increase in social media platforms that targets a woman's self-esteem. And with so many celebrities getting plastic surgery, they are making it both more and more desirable to us, the 99%ers, as well as so commonplace. For the everyday woman, in fact. How many people are now getting Brazilian butt implants? It's not just for the celebrities, but oh, hey, yeah, now that they've gotten that done, now all the celebrities have gotten the butt implants removed. So it's like just when we're starting to get our hands on one trend, they go ahead and they change trends. So you can never actually, if you're a consumer woman in the United States of America, you can never actually feel like you're on firm ground because the beauty standards are constantly evolving and constantly changing. I'm sure there's no reason for that. So while these procedures are becoming so commonplace for the everyday woman, and while there's this weight crisis going on, Ozempic was rolled out upon an already vulnerable population. So how was this done? It was not first given to doctors, because that's not how you make something desirable. If everyone can have it, it's not special. So how do they make it seem exclusive? It was first given to the plastic surgeons that the celebrities go to. So while it was rolled out to the celebrities first, what actually happened was that the celebrities were targeted to first be introduced to it. Again, because how do you make something desirable? Like if you ever went to a club when you were in your 20s, or if you were underage, I won't tell certainly, but if you've ever gone to a club ever at any point in your life, how do the club and the bouncers make it appear desirable? They don't let everybody in. They keep a long line so that way when you're driving by, seeing if you even want to go to the club, you see a long line of people that are waiting to get in. That's how they make it exclusive and desirable. Because if you drive by that club and there ain't nobody online, you're going to be like, okay, this is lame, I don't want to go there. If you go to a restaurant and there's not a 6-month waiting list, some people wouldn't even want to go to it at all. Or if they go to a restaurant and there's nobody there, you might be thinking, well, how good can the food be if there's nobody sitting there and eating it? So these are all very, very common tactics that are done to make something appear desirable. So the celebrity plastic surgeons were in fact first targeted to make it exclusive, top up, trickle down approach. And the plastic surgeons were told that this was the drug of the moment. And then the plastic surgeons were passing this information forward onto their celebrity clientele. And they were telling them, this is the hottest drug since cocaine in the 80s. But this drug, unlike cocaine, it's not designed to give you jitters. You ain't gonna wanna get up on them tables and dance your ass off. No. This is just gonna suppress your appetite and you're gonna look fabulous. And I'm gonna give you the prescription for it. So while we make your face look fabulous and we do a little nip tuck here or a little smoothing out or filler over there, you will also get your prescription and you will be fabulous head to toe. So this was sold to the plastic surgeons as being a miracle in a needle. And thus, and also guys, if you don't know this, all drug manufacturers give massive incentives to the doctors that give a prescription, not just to the celebrities, but everybody. All doctors get massive kickbacks by drug manufacturers. It's not just Botox. It's not just the fillers. It's not just the makers of Ozempic. It's also, again, if you're listening and you're not looking, it's the makers of the jabadoodles. The dreaded word that nobody can say, that word. The V's. So pediatricians get kickbacks. CVS gets a kickback. That's why they're telling you if you get your jabadoodle today, you'll get 20% off in-store shopping. They all get a kickback for the amount of jabadoodles that they are administering to people. It is no different for plastic surgeons that were giving out the prescription for Ozempic. Because again, I remind you guys, the company that makes Ozempic, how many billions of dollars have they earned since it first came out? I'm gonna do really, really rough math. That's almost 4, that's almost 3, so that's 7, that's another almost 2, that's 9, that's almost $1 trillion worldwide in sales, okay? So if they are earning almost $1 trillion in sales off of this one drug, Ozempic, they can afford to give incentives and kickbacks to the doctors because they do. So, because the doctors were given incentives, like they are with everything, but they were told it's a miracle in a needle, and their celebrity clientele were coming back to get their Botox done every other month or however often they get it done, and they were slowly slimming down, they were seeing, hot damn, this drug actually does what they claim it does. And soon, all of the celebrities were appearing very skinny indeed in all of their social media posts that are shoved down our throat and on the red carpet. Were they fessing up to the fact that it was actually Ozempic? No, that wasn't their job. Their job was to make it desirable. Just like the bouncers at a club, their job is to make the club look more desirable by not allowing everybody in. So the celebrity's job wasn't to tell people what it was just to show them how quick they were losing weight. And then the next step was to actually give Ozempic widespread reach to the population as a whole. Because now it was already in people's and consumers' minds, the trend now is skinny. The trend now is not curvy. The trend now is not Brazilian butt, but toned butt, skinny butt. So now that the celebrities had set the trend, then Ozempic was made available to all doctors everywhere, that they could now start to prescribe it to their patients. Incentives. So once everyone had noticed this, it was distributed to all doctors' offices for them now to tell their patients about it. And since the word on the street was already out that the trend is now skinny, the drug of the moment, as in Ozempic, really had its moment, and its popularity and its use exploded. Almost $1 trillion in sales. Thus making generational wealth for its founders as well as distributors. Almost $1 trillion in sales. And I remind you, it's the only FDA-approved drug designed to manage long-term weight loss. Not short-term, long-term. We're getting to that, I promise. I said we were going to get to it. Again, if you're listening and you're not looking, I'm making devil ears, okay? Only drug, company, FDA approved, and their logo is of a bull. $1 trillion in sales. So societally, because this is not just a judgment about drug makers, but societally, women were in fact becoming skinnier and skinnier because that was the trend disseminated by celebrities. But they were becoming skinnier without the knowledge that they were essentially injecting an autoimmune disease into their body, and how their digestion and digestive system would never be the same. Ever. Because Ozempic is not a, quote, use it and lose it, end quote, kind of a drug. It's not like amoxicillin, that if you have some sort of a sinus infection, you take amoxicillin or you take a Z-Pak for 10 days, and then it clears up your infection and you stop using it. No. Ozempic is a drug that is designed for one to use forever. Because when a person stops injecting themselves with Ozempic, what will in fact happen to them is they will gain back all the weight that they lost, and in addition to that, some new weight as well. Long-term weight loss management. Not short-term, not amoxicillin, not a Z-Pak, long-term. As in forever term. Because when somebody tries to stop using Ozempic, their digestive system has been so thrown out of whack and it has turned against them that without the use of Ozempic, their body doesn't actually even know what to do with food any longer. So the process of using Ozempic has forever altered not only the person's digestive system, but also a person's relationship with their body. And in fact, all food and with themselves and their body as well. And it's done by suppressing their appetite. But our appetites actually serve a purpose. So it suppresses their appetite to the extent that it does, but here's the thing. It also will deprive a person of actual healthy nutrients. Because here's the thing. Ostensibly, if somebody is, and I'm not talking about somebody that just wants to lose 10 pounds. Well, or lose 5 pounds, or just trim down the holiday weight. I don't think people are going on Ozempic for like the 5 to 10 pounds, right? Ozempic is really targeted at people, and I read this actually online, people that have over 27% of a body fat index on their frame. And then, you know, depending on your height and your weight is going to determine what that in fact actually is. But it's really designed and targeted for the people that have more weight to lose as opposed to less weight. So if somebody has more weight to lose than less weight, there's any number of series of choices that are going to line up with that particular person needing to lose the more weight, right? I'm not talking about like somebody's generally healthy and they're generally skinny, and then it's the holidays and they indulge a little bit and then they feel a little bloated and a little afterwards. This is where there's some sort of an underlying cause that is going to cause the accumulation of that weight over a prolonged period of time. So it's either not being nutritionally aware, or not being raised maybe in a household where proper diet and nutrition is a priority, or working so hard, or that they come home and they don't have the energy to even make a healthy meal, so they're just going to be consuming, you know, like ready TV dinners or something like that, or trauma. So where the person doesn't even feel safe in their own body, and they will make choices in which they will retain extra weight so that way they can actually feel safe in their body. So there's a number of choices that are happening, or lifestyle choices that are happening over a prolonged period of time, that's going to necessitate, and I use that word loosely, like necessitate, quote unquote, the intervention of a drug such as Ozempic. So this may be a person that either doesn't know about healthy options, or is too tired to consume healthy options, or too stuck in their trauma to want to consume the healthy options. But this is ostensibly a person, again, that through prolonged choices has not necessarily consumed healthy food. So now that they have the intervention of Ozempic, it's not going to inspire them to eat healthy. So the food that they're going to be consuming on an ongoing basis will continue to be unhealthy, albeit it will be a much smaller dose and a much smaller quantity of food. But it's the same level of food. And anecdotally, I know more than one person that is actually on Ozempic, and they have both shared with me what they eat. And whereas, let's say before, and I don't judge them. This is their life, their journey that they came here to work through. It's me just sharing with you anecdotally that what was shared to me by more than one person that is actually on Ozempic, if they used to have 2 pieces of toast, plain toast, nothing but carbs in the morning for breakfast, now they can only have 1 piece of toast. Maybe the doctors that are prescribing them the Ozempic can tell them to cut out the fucking toast and maybe have, like, I don't know, eggs. Something that's not just pure carbohydrates that their body is gonna turn into digestion directly into sugar. Call me crazy, but I don't know. Maybe nutrition should be a part of this conversation? No. Generational wealth, y'all. And affiliation in the club. Profits over people. And in time, what this actually in fact is doing to a person is when the world will need strong and healthy bodies to adjust to the new frequencies that we are actually co-creating energetically on the earth plane. So when the world in time will need strong, healthy bodies to adjust to the new frequencies, instead of theirs, in fact, being a healthy body that is consuming healthy food, we are instead creating a new generation of skinny, unhealthy, and physically weak people that have been seduced by the 3D into lowering their vibration to the extent that all they care about is being skinny. So whereas, and I don't know the breakdown of how many people or what the percentage of women that are on Ozempic to men, but I'm going to share with you that whereas masculinity has been rebranded as being toxic, and that was designed to disempower the male population and to make them weak, Ozempic was designed to disempower the female population and to make them weak, but not by rebranding masculinity as being toxic, but it's the over proliferation of is. And what do I mean by that? What is considered to be desirable at this time? It's not the curvy girls any longer, right? It's not, the Beyonce, my body is bootylicious. It's the departure of the bootylicious, and it's now the introduction through the celebrities that skinny is now in. But it's not fit, it's skinny. Because again, they're not outlining what their health regimen is and what their diet regimen is. They're giving you little snippets of their life designed to just show you this is now the trend. And if we have a new generation that is being created through the use of Ozempic, it's a skinny, unhealthy, and weak generation. Just like the men are now disempowered, it's disempowering the women as well. What does this all do? It's reinforcing the matrix because it's training people to only be responsive to current trends of what is considered to be beautiful and desirable. And that is 3D. Because these celebrities are not coming out and talking about their meditation practices or their gifts and abilities or how no, it's actually, you're not crazy if you're psychic. No. What are they talking about? They're prancing around with their designer goods that they get for free, and they're showing us what's desirable in terms of facial beauty and body beauty. It's just reinforcing the matrix, y'all. So again, this is designed to combat the fact that now here on Earth, we are in a foretold divine timing of where all of our energy, well, obviously not all, if some people are still making these choices, but it's a foretold divine timing where the energy on Earth was going to begin to ascend. So all the cabal has left, because they're done, all they have left is it's kind of like they're running away. All they can do is like throw down shit behind them to slow down the person that's trying to capture them. All they can do is try to slow down our ascension by trying to continuously trap our consciousness in the matrix through the beauty standards. It's literally all they have left, guys. Not this. There's other things that they're doing as well that I've talked about in all of my other videos. But literally all they can do is try to slow down the ascension because they cannot stop it. Nothing can, in fact, stop what's coming. All they can try to do is slow down some chairs to slow down the person that's pursuing them. It's all they got left. But it continues to get so much darker because in addition to the FDA not just prescribing Ozempic to women or men that have a little weight to lose, The FDA is now recommending Ozempic as the first line of action to be prescribed to children as young as 8 years old. So they're not teaching to these children portion control or the importance of exercise, nor the importance of being disciplined, or the importance of healthy food choices. None of that is being taught to the children as young as 8 years old, nor to the parents that are taking their overweight children into the doctors. What they are in fact being taught is that the most important thing that they can do to regulate their weight, it's not to go outside and to go for a walk, or to go for a bike ride, or to play in a playground, or instead of eating pizza or Taco Bell, to have salmon and some vegetables. No. They are being taught that the first course of action is to be injecting themselves for the rest of their lives. Because guess the fuck what, guys? If alcoholism is now recognized as a disease and thus eradicating any level of personal accountability, being overweight is too. Because alcoholics are getting a pass. What is alcoholism now considered? A disease. It's not a accountability. It's not a lack of accountability. It's you, according to your genetic predisposition, you're just going to be an alcoholic. You just don't know when to stop drinking. It's because of, in fact, your DNA. It's not because you just don't know when to actually stop. So if alcoholism has now been rebranded as no longer an accountability issue, but an inherent DNA issue, it absolves the drinker of actual accountability. So if alcoholism is rebranded, guess the fuck what, guys? So is being overweight. So we're not telling people you're overweight because you're making bad food choices, or you're overweight because maybe you just haven't been taught about the importance of proper healthy nutrition, or you have a job that you fucking hate and it drains the life out of you, and you're so fucking tired when you come home that all you want to do is throw some food into your mouth. Or maybe the reason being overweight feels safe to you is because of trauma that you haven't processed. No. They're just wiping all of that away and they're saying you're actually overweight because of your DNA. No level of personal accountability. So no, you are not overweight because of an unhealthy lifestyle or bad eating habits or trauma. It is coded into your DNA, and for that, we have a solution that neither lifestyle nor dietary changes are going to fix, because people are not being told that that's in fact the problem. So it is giving a whole new and very vulnerable and impressionable generation a way out, because there's no level of accountability. In addition to that, it is training an entire generation of young, vulnerable, and impressionable people to only see problems that can be fixed by big pharma. But they are not being trained to see solutions that are empowering to them, but disempowering. Because if it's not an issue with lifestyle, then it's not something that you yourself can fix. It's a problem for big pharma to fix, because it's not a you problem, it's a DNA problem. So we've got a whole generation of people that are being trained to only see problems and not solutions that they themselves can actually handle. But the solution has to be kicked over to Big Daddy Pharma. Profits over people. Which again disempowers us and trains us to give our autonomy and certainly our body autonomy away, all while getting people to willingly subject themselves to destroy their bodies as well as their nervous systems, as well as destroying their relationship to food and the opportunity to food being thy medicine, which all results in this just further reinforcing the matrix. Because it starts with the celebrities telling us what the standard is. And then once we get the memo loud and fucking clear because of social media and rag mags that we can't get away from, because they're right there at the checkout counter when you go to the grocery store, we're getting the memo of what the priority is. Skinny is in, bootylicious is out. But by training people to abdicate any sense of autonomy, that they themselves can be the arbiters of their success in achieving true health, and thus then being freed from the confines of Big Pharma and the Matrix, all it actually does is reinforce it. And that's why I'm here, guys. To share the channeled information that is brought to me by my guides, so we can start to learn the tactics of the cabal in how they train us to reinforce the matrix. Because once we know their tactics, we are free of it. So that concludes the channeled information into the true meaning and purpose of the drug Ozempic. Profits over people, it's an abdication of our autonomy, and it is training us to see that every problem we have has a Big Pharma solution. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video and found it to be perhaps insightful, maybe thought-provoking. I remind you to please take what resonates and to leave the rest behind. And this is your further reminder that until next time and every moment in between, to stay in the high vibration.